Hello guys, so I'm back with my new video on EKS cluster. So today I'll be showing you how we can create EKS cluster and how we can attach nodes to our EKS cluster. So I already logged into my management console. So now let me go to that EKS service which we have in EKS in this AWS, sorry. So basically we can either do add cluster or we can do a create cluster. So let's say I am just giving name as this is for demo, and that version of that Kubernetes cluster you can select as per your need. Then you need to create that role for this cluster, and if you are not aware like what all policies you need to just keep in a role means, then you can just click on this info. You can go through this and you can just select the rules uh, based on the requirement. So we can add multiple rules, but that basic rules needs to be there. That cluster service role, then that EKS service linked role, all those things needs to be there. So maybe if required, I can add like what all roles are I have created for this cluster service role. Like a role means whatever policy I have attached in this EKS role. I'll just put it there in that description, and then here we need to select like whether that administrator should be allowed or with that access, or we should disallow, or we should be giving access through IAM. All those things we need to give here. Then cluster authentication mode means either we want to allow cluster to be accessed only through API. EKS cluster API means we'll be giving access to through IAM of this AWS, or we want to use both API as well as config map. So normally that config map will have that certificates and all of that administrator users or different users, or we can just have that config map. So here what I'm giving is just EKS API and config map, both I am selecting. Then in secret encryption, you can enable this and use that KMS key for that encryption. But what I'll do is like for now, I'll just keep it, turn it off. If required, you can just make it turned on for more security. Then tags, if you want to add as part of best practice, you can add tags. But as this is just for a demo, so I'm not adding any tags as in that later point of time I'll be deleting this cluster. So and then that VPC we need to select. So if you are not aware what is this project VPC, how we created, what all settings we did here, then you can refer my that VPC video. But maybe as this is that important video, so maybe I'll just gone through you this VPC part, like what all things we are having in VPC. I'll just go inside that VPC. Here you can see we are having two VPC. One is the default one and second one is that project VPC which I have created. And in this VPC, if you will see, I have four subnets, two public subnets and two private subnets. I am having internet gateway which I have attached to my VPC, and for now I am not having any NAT gateway for this VPC. Endpoints just for S3 I have created earlier, but now I'm like earlier I have created two more, but those endpoints I have removed for EKS, Elastic Container Registry, and I'm just having this endpoints for S3 buckets. Then Yeah, so that's all for this VPC. So if you want to know like how we can create our own VPC, um, and how we can create our own subnets, public private, then you can refer my VPC video. For now I am just selecting this VPC, and this time I'm trying to create this cluster in my public subnet. security group, I'm gonna select the default one, and this cluster IP address I am selecting just IPv4. And cluster endpoints, I can keep it public, private, or just private. So it means you won't be able to access this cluster from that public internet, means from anywhere, even if you are giving that correct config map, or you are having that IAM privilege, because this will be private, means you need to enter into this VPC network, then only you will be able to connect. So this I'll cover later. For now I am just keep making it public and private, so that cluster endpoint will be accessible outside of VPC as well. Then I am just selecting next, then Prometheus. So this is just for that metrics, that we can manage our infrastructure, or we can see all the health performance data or health of our nodes or pods. So for now I'll just keep it disabled. If required, you can enable this. And then this API server, all those loggings, for now I'm just keeping it off. If this is your production, you are creating EKS for production, just make sure you have enabled that required logging mechanism. And then Prometheus, all those things, just make sure you are enabling based on your need. And then we are having some add-ons if you want to have it on your cluster. So this core DNS are installed by default. Qproxy, VPC, CNI, all those things are by default installed. I'm just having this Amazon EKS pod identity agent. Then selecting next. I am just that version, we can select whatever version we need. I'm just keeping the default version. Then next. And this is that entire description, like what all things we have added here. You can just go through, verify if all the details are correct. If you want to edit those directly, you can edit from here. Once you are done with that, then you can say create. So what it will do, it will create a cluster. It will not add any node to your cluster. This will just create a cluster for you, means all the settings whatever you have given while configuring this cluster, it will just deploy those settings. We'll just go through what all things we are having. So this API server endpoints we are yet to get. This server, this is still in creation mode. So that certificate authority, then yeah, this IAM role we already attached, so we are able to see it here. Then secrets we have turned it off. And then resources, yeah. So this is like here we will be able to see what all resources are running in our cluster, that pods, replica set, deployments, stateful sets, daemon sets, jobs, cron jobs, all those things, everything with respect to our cluster workloads, we will be able to see it here. Cluster like nodes, namespace, API service, all those things we will be seeing here. So this is like under resources, we will be able to see everything, like whatever things we are running in our cluster. So these are like services and networking details we'll find here. If any config or secrets we have configured, those things we'll be seeing here. Then storage, if we are using any storage or attached any storage, those details we'll be seeing here. Then that authentication method, if any service account we have created, all those details we'll be seeing here. Then that authorization part, like how we are creating roles binding, cluster role bindings, all those details. Then this policy, if we want to set any policies. And that's all, like these many, all the details with respect to your cluster resources you will be seeing under resources. Then this compute is nothing but you will be able to add nodes, like where you want to deploy your service. So let's say if you want to deploy some pods or something, means some containers, means those pods needs to be created somewhere, right? So for that, what you need to do is either you need to add nodes, or if you want to use Fargate, means that AWS managed infrastructure, then you can add that forget profile. It will do a task for you. And yeah, so under resources we'll be able to add resources only once that cluster is deployed. So still it is deploying, so we are, these two options are disabled. Then on networking part, if you will see, we have deployed this under this VPC. Then these two subnets we have used. IP service IP range, you can see. Cluster security group, we are yet to, this we haven't selected. Then additional security group is this one. So this will, all these details will reflect once this cluster is deployed. So you can see that public access, you can see open to all traffic, means we will be able to connect to this cluster from anywhere if we have that proper permissions, like on IAM, or we are having that config map, correct config map, then we will be able to connect. Then these add-ons are nothing but the same which we discussed earlier while creating an cluster. And then this access part, so this is what I was telling, that API or config map. And then this observability means that Prometheus matrix, this we didn't enable. So if you will enable, means you will be able to see those things. Then upgrade insights, so like many things are there. So in history you will be able to see what if you have made any changes. Then tags we didn't add, so that is the reason why you are not seeing anything in tags. So yeah, so these many things you need to take care while creating a cluster. So like basically cluster we can create in two ways. So currently we are just creating a cluster so that it is publicly accessible, like we will be able to access directly from public. But normally when we use production type of environment, means that time we need to restrict all the public access. So maybe I'll tell you that as well, like how we can create those clusters. Yeah, this also can be used as a production, but we need to just make sure like we are restricting all the traffic which are not required, and making taking all the necessary checks before deploying our services. All those things we need to take care. So this cluster is still that status, if you will see, it is still creating. So once this cluster is created, then we'll see like how we can add our resources to the cluster. Resources means either node group or that target if you want to use it. So let's wait for some time and see. So like if you want to by the time this cluster is creating, so if you want to know like how we can create those VPC and why we have used that public subnet, all those things, so you can just refer my VPC video. I have explained in details like what is that public subnet, how we create that, and that private subnet, how we create that private subnet. All those things I have explained in that VPC video in details. So you can refer that video if you have any doubt with respect to networking, and if you have any other doubt, means that for that we can connect. Yeah, as you can see now, cluster has been created. It is that status is active. Now, what we can do is we can go to resources, and you can see like these are that core DNS and all those things, but those things are still in pending state. Those are not deployed until unless our nodes are added. So what I'll do is like I'll just create one node group, and I'll say demo node group, and that role is for EKS node. I have created one role there, and I have attached all the required policy. Again, if you want to know like what all things we need to add, you can just click on info, and you can just read these articles from AWS. You will get all the details. Then apart from that, if any labels you want to add, you can edit tents. If you want to add, you can edit tags. If you want to add, or as a best practice, you can add that. Else you can do next. You can select what kind of VM you want to provision. So maybe I'll just select Amazon Linux only, on demand only, T3 medium, because this is that minimum one we'll be getting. This one is desired nodes. Let me give one, as we are just using it for testing, right? Then that maximum unavailable, I'm just giving value as one. You can give based on your requirement, and I can say next. Sorry, that minimum also should be one. Then because what I'm saying is desired should be one and minimum I said two, means this condition will not met, right? Minimum or desired should be less than minimum, so that is the reason why I got that error. So I'll say next. Then subnets I already selected, and if you want to configure that remote access to those nodes, means if you want to connect to those nodes for any troubleshooting, you can enable that, and you can set up everything for that, and you will be able to connect to those nodes. But for now I'm not giving anything, just giving next. And this is all I am having. Then I'll say create, and in the background like now what will happen is like it will take some times to create those nodes, and then add those nodes to this node group. So it will be creating one node group in a background. It will be creating one node for now, because I have given minimum as one and also desired as one. That maximum I have given two. And so in a background what it will do is like if you will just click on this EC2, and if you will go to that EC2 service, you will see like currently only one instance is running, but soon you will see two additional. So this one I have created for some different demo. But now what we will be getting is we'll be getting two additional EC2, because in a background this cluster will get connected to EC2 service. It will ask EC2 service to create uh, two additional EC2 instances, install all the things which is required for this cluster, and there was one filter, so I removed that so that we can see that complete process, like yeah, it is started creating or not, all those things we'll be able to see. So demo node group is now being created. This process may take some time, so they are clearly telling it may take some time. So as of now, like I am not seeing any node here. Let's wait for some more time. Just make sure like when you are checking all those things, right? So make sure like you are checking under correct correct reason. So it shouldn't be like you are creating cluster on some different reason and you are checking those things on a different reason. So that will okay. So there is some error. It says one or more EC2 does not have automatically assigned public IP enabled. Okay, so there like we have that public IP. It is not able to attach public IP. That is the reason why it is giving us this error. So to fix this error, it's good like we are getting some error so that when you are creating these services, at least you will get some help. So how we can fix this is we can just go to VPC and what we can do is we can go to subnets. We'll just select filter out only this project VPC. Then I'll go to this public subnet which we have created and I'll go to action. I'll edit subnet setting and I'll just enable this and I'll save this. Then what I'll do is I'll just go to that public IP one subnet. I'll edit the setting. I'll just select this option and I'll save this. Now I'll just go here. I'll just okay, that status is failed. Resources compute. Let's create another node group. Select that. I'm just quickly selecting all these details. Now I'll do a create. This is in progress. Now again I'll go to my EC2 page where we will be seeing all those details. Let's clear this filter of running and see if any additional node is getting created. So it says demo EKS node is now being created. This process may take several time. Let's see like when we get this EC2 instance here in our EC2 instance page, because in a backend whatever command we are giving to this EKS, it will be connecting to this EC2 only and it will be launching an instance in our EC2. So once it will launch an EC2 instance, this will get updated here itself. So yeah, now you can see, right? It has launched one instance which we have given there. Instance type is T3 micro, and you will be able to see that details like same as like whatever we have given there in our while creating that node group. So we have given some definition while creating that node group, so that same with that with that definition it will create a same EC2 instance like whatever that definition support here in our instances. So those things you will be able to see here, like so there we have given T3 medium. So if we would have given some different instance type, means here it could have created some different instance type. So it totally depend like whatever we have given in our node group. So now let's wait for that status check. Once these status checks are passed, then what will happen once this instance is completely up and running, all the things are installed, whatever we have passed in our node group, then it will try to connect to our EKS cluster. So you can see that security group as well. Whatever security group we have given there, it has attached that security group to this EKS cluster. So like when you are facing some issues with EC2 instance means you will not be able to connect currently to this EC2 instance. Why? Because we haven't enabled that 2022 port and all those things we haven't enabled from there to connect to EC2 instance. Directly you won't be able to connect. You need to make some change, some sort of setting change so that you are able to connect to this EC2 instance for any troubleshooting. But for now, this EC2 instance is created. It is still initializing its status checks. Once this is updated, then we'll go back to our Kubernetes cluster which we have created, EKS cluster, and we'll see like if we are able to uh, see those nodes get attached to this EKS cluster for doing some sort of demo, right? So in resources, if you will see, still you are seeing only two pods, and those two pods are just created. So those two pods are not up and running. So you can see this this is created. So here, if you will refresh this, status check here is still, so here that status is not updated, but here this node group has been that status is active, and it already got attached to this cluster. So you can see this node. So this node is same whatever we are seeing here. So if you will compare that public IP of this node, and you will compare the public IP of this node, it you will find the same 10.10.025.131, right? 10. Okay, so this public, let's see, let's go inside this node group. Okay, this is that internal okay. So 10.0.25.131 is that internal IP of this instance. That is the reason why you are seeing that you can see that DNS of this one, right? So this will be same as this one, whatever you are seeing here. So now like if you will see that status, now you are seeing that both the status are getting passed. This node got correctly attached to this cluster. Now if you will connect to this cluster, then you will see this node in your cluster. At least one node you will be able to see here in this cluster. So let me open my cloud cell. Okay, so this cloud cell environment is getting launched. I'll just open it this to my next window. Now we'll be connecting to, now I'll just say this one as do not show me again, and then you will be running that AWS. I'll just close this. I'll go here and I'll just type the command